This evening, Safetv is another sunlit project which will come under the umbrella of City Hall. PPPC joins the coalition government with one voice over Venezuela's position in OAS. The production rate of Guyana's gold has been boosted after Brexit. The EITI Symposium was launched today at the Arthur Chung Convention Center. In the region, Brazil's economy plummets to a level never before experienced. And internationally, the Istanbul airport attack still leaves authorities baffled about the origin.
From Safetv headquarters in South Granville Gardens, this is Safetv Headline News with George Gonzalez.
Headline News is now being streamed live on our YouTube channel, as well as our website, safetvguyana.com. Join us. Safetv is soon to be regularized under the management of City Hall. Andrew Weeks reports that Minister of Communities Ronald Bolkin believes that it can happen before the year's end. Mayor Chase Green wants it to be effected with haste.
When President David Granger finished his speech on Monday at the historic visit at City Hall, Mayor Chase Green said she was very concerned about the services that should have been given to the community of Safetv. Services that have not been meted out to residents there will then be effected when the area has been handed over to City Hall.
So therefore, I'm hoping under this present council, along with the government and the Ministry of Communities, that Safetv, having been used as one of the constituencies to bring representatives into this council, that they will be able to be a body as part of the city of Georgetown, of which we can extend our services. Because at present, there is no services no service given to that community by this council.
Services like garbage collections, drainage, lights, roads, etc. are not being provided for by the city of Georgetown to Safetv, but by central government. No one in Safetv pays property tax, and according to the mayor, all those houses will have to be re-evaluated.
I can say to you right here and now, for this 2016 budget, nothing was budgeted for Safetv. Nothing. And so in our review for our budget, and we'll be coming with open arms asking you and the Council and the Ministry of Communities for assistance if we have to pay attention to Safetv to ensure that there's proper lights, there's proper drainage, there's proper garbage collection, there's proper roads.
Meanwhile, Minister of Communities Ronald Bolkin said rates and taxes were very important for the development of the city, and Safetv will have to line up with that standard practice. As regards to the regularization of squatters, Bolkin said,
one of the strategic goals of the ministry is for squatter regularization, and is to bring into formal occupation a lot of the current areas that are occupied via squatting. And Safetv represents one of the largest of our squatter settlements, and now that the Georgetown City Council has identified the need and the imperative to be able to bring in a formal way Safetv into the within the ambit of the City Council, the task will have to commence in earnest. I would not want to, put a deadline as to when that activity can and could be completed, save and except to say that
City Hall has a life which culminates after 3 years. It is hoped that before that time ends, Safetv will be fully within the ambit of City Hall.
Thanks, Andrew. As Guyana moves even closer to becoming a member of the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, EITI, the country embarked on hosting a national symposium. That kicked off today at the Arthur Chung Convention Center, and this report has what you need to know.
The EITI is a global organization of 51 member countries that hold the belief that a country's natural resources belong to the people and are to be extracted and managed on behalf of the people, both for current and future generations. This also means stamping out any form of corruption within the natural resources sector.
Wherever the resource curse exists in Guyana, it is our duty to remove it. And so the recent discoveries of hydrocarbons in the Atlantic Ocean tell us that Guyana has oil and natural gas many times more valuable than our nation's entire economic output.
Minister of Natural Resources and the Environment, Raphael Trotman. There are hundreds of examples showing that the more wealth a country has, the more susceptible it becomes to corrupt politicians. This can be said for the enormously rich Venezuela, which continues to experience food shortages and other crises. It is for this reason that the input of all stakeholders is needed, starting with civil society, which was represented at today's forum by Mike McCormack.
The focus of the EITI process of generating reliable, transparent information on revenue generated in the extractive sector is the right place to start, but it would be the wrong place to finish.
The head of the Guyana Human Rights Association explained to stakeholders that the process to free Guyana from any form of corruption within the extractive industries would be a difficult one.
If we are going to manage extractive resources, there's a whole range of infrastructural changes have to take place. Our governance arrangements are nowhere near in place for this projected shift.
George, over the next few months, plans are expected to be worked out on how to remedy these inadequacies. Discussions will also continue in relation to the depth of the EITI implementation here.
Thank you, Rihanna. The increase of gold prices on the world's market is creating a very positive outlook for our local gold mining industry. Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman explains to Gina that the international surge in prices affects our production rate. Kingsley Bryan provides the details in this report.
Following Britain's exit from the European Union, major changes affected the global market in more ways than one. One of the main highlights was the increase in gold prices on the international market. An expected target of 550,000 ounces of gold was estimated in Guyana's budget. The Natural Resources Minister is expressing that the international changes could have positive results for Guyana's production target.
We intend to surpass that. I don't want to reveal what is our target internally, but we're working towards a target that goes past 550,000 ounces. So I would say we're doing relatively well in the circumstances.
The increase in gold prices was almost immediate following the Brexit vote and saw gold trading on the international market at $1,300 US an ounce. Trotman said while the increases are welcomed, a stable global market was more of a necessity.
In as much as we're happy for the increase in the gold prices, very happy, we also would like to see stability and normalcy in all parts of the world, including Europe.
Trotman, at a separate venture, said that the gold target projected for this year was already in view, and these new developments reveal the possibility of Guyana breaking its production records.
We have already surpassed, as of June, and the month of June is going to come to an end this week, tomorrow, but we've already cleared 300,000 ounces, which means that if we are, by a natural process of extrapolation, we should clear 600,000 ounces this year, which is going to be the first time in many years. And with recent announcements by Aurora Gold Mines that they're in fact increasing their production, we are going to go even further, perhaps towards the 700,000 mark.
Trotman explains that gold will bring in significant revenue and much needed foreign currency for the country. He continued that gold will be Guyana's highest foreign exchange earner. But there is still some concern that shifts in the global scene of things may result in continuous fluctuations on the local and regional scenes. George.
Thanks, Kingsley. Coming up on Headline News after the break, demo parking meters have arrived at City Hall, and Lincoln Lewis approves recommendations he deems helpful in solving issues in public service.
Everybody knows John Lewis Styles as the Levi's and Dockers store. But did you know we're also an authorized dealer for Nautica, Perry Ellis, US Polo, Natural Issue, Joffrey Bean, and many others. We also carry the Bruno and Drill brands, who are actually the makers of Express shirts, at half the price of Express. So the next time you think of men's clothing, shoes, and accessories, there's only one choice. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
With a distinctive flavor, Ongda palka ghee is made from 100% pure vegetable oil. This palka ghee is a delight when preparing sweetmeats and other dishes for healthy cooking with a rich buttery taste and aroma. It is used for religious purposes and is a principal fuel for burning. Ongda palka ghee is light, pure, with a real ghee texture.
Only at Kissoon's can you get the guaranteed offer of up to 50% discount on every item in their blowout factory surplus sale. 50% off for Guyana's 50th anniversary right through the year. Check it out at their spacious factory outlet at Reinfeldt Industrial Park, where parking is no problem. They're in the mood to celebrate at Kissoon's. Once you want it, Kissoon's will make sure you don't leave without it.
This is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you had a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princess Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
Smart City Solutions demo parking meter has arrived. Andrew Weeks reports that the meter will be at different locations for citizens to get a first-hand use of the meters that will be set up around the city.
A number of persons were at City Hall today to see a demonstration of the parking meter in use. Roman Catholic Bishop Francis Allen, who saw the demonstration, said he was waiting on such a project for a long time.
I think this is a good step forward. I mean, okay, there's a lot more we still need to know in terms of how it's set up and how much the cost.
The cost, according to Director of Smart City Solutions, Aoife Cush, is going to be $250 an hour. As to how much the government and the city will gain financially, Mr. Cush said,
the city of Georgetown will receive 20% of the gross revenues, and then the central government will receive 16% VAT. So in effect, what we will be giving up is 36% of our gross revenues. The city and the central government will not be paying anything. They have no investment, no stake in the outcome here, other than collecting revenues. We have everything to lose.
The operation of the meters was explained by the first two employees of Smart City Solutions.
Okay, first you're going to press the green button, right, to start it. Then you're going to press your number plate on your vehicle. Then you're going to press the green again. Then they're going to ask you how many time, like the minutes you want to stand. If it's 1 hour, half an hour, 50 minutes, you're going to press it there, and then you're going to press the green again. They're going to ask you for your card, then you're going to swipe the card here. You're going to get a receipt coming out here where you have to push place on your bonnet of the car so that the enforced officers, when they come around, they will see that you paid to park instead of parking illegally. It's going to get the time, the machine number, and what else? The date and the number plate of the car. Yeah, that's basically it.
The government has not put a halt to the project, as some news agencies have been purporting. The government is reviewing the contract for transparency and illegality, but make no mistake, City Hall is moving full speed ahead with the project, which will be fully implemented in September of this year. Over 100 young people are expected to be employed with smart city solutions in the coming weeks. Well, this is a demo version of the parking meter, which will be placed all over the city of Georgetown. There are about over 400 of them will be coming in the country to be placed in the city. Now, this parking meter, as we are told, will be big investment into this country. City Hall is getting 20%, the government is getting 16%. A total of 36% will be going back to the government. So get the opportunity, if you can, to visit the locations that will be announced very soon for parking meters demonstration across the city.
Thanks, Andrew. In a rare scenario, the main opposition seems to be supportive of the government's call for dialogue as it relates to the crisis facing neighboring Venezuela. Rihanna Ahmad has more.
Even with the ongoing disagreements between Guyana and Venezuela, both the People's Progressive Party Civic and the governing APNU-AFC coalition have expressed the same sentiments, that discussions should be had before any moves are taken to suspend Venezuela from the Organization of American States, OAS.
We don't support the suspension of any member from the OAS. We don't agree with going back to what was done in order to expel Cuba in the 1960s from the OAS at Punta del Este in Uruguay. We never supported that. All issues must be settled on the basis of discussions, within the organization.
The OAS has blamed President Nicolas Maduro's government for Venezuela's crisis, saying that the South American oil-rich nation was now mired in poverty, corruption, and violence, and that administration had violated basic democratic principles, which had altered the constitutional order of the country. At Freedom House, Rohi was asked for his opinion on what should be the next step if dialogue on the issue failed.
Well, if those fail, then we come to the bridge, we'll cross it. But we can't be too presumptuous and say, well, if it fails, we're going to do X, Y, or Z.
A similar position had been taken by the government of the day. It was Foreign Affairs Minister Kyle Greenidge who recently declared that Ghana's position on the suspension of Venezuela from the OAS is largely in keeping with those by the OAS General Assembly. That is, dialogue before any decision to drop or suspend any member state. But in a familiar move, Rohi is still questioning the administration's move.
I would like to know, because there was a General Council meeting of the OAS some time ago at the OAS headquarters in Washington. I would like to know how the government of Guyana voted in respect to that resolution before they went to the OAS General Assembly in Guatemala.
Rihanna Ahmad, Safetv 2 Headline News.
Thanks, Rihanna. Lincoln Lewis said the report of the COI into the operations of the public service brought nothing new to the table. However, he said the report contained recommendations that are very useful in fixing some issues. Kingsley Bryan provides the details.
The report of the Commission of Inquiry conducted into the public service got mixed reviews when it was made public. Many expressed satisfaction with the findings and recommendations of the report, while others shared negative comments. According to the General Secretary of the Ghana Trades Union Congress, Lincoln Lewis, the report actually did not present any new information.
It has not brought anything new. The things that were said in the report are things that the trade union has been saying all the time. Many persons felt.
Lewis continued that one of the main issues on the agenda was the fixing of wages and salaries. and this was previously highlighted as something the COI would not have been able to effectively address.
We have said very clear that there is no mandate in the terms of reference to fixed wages.
The GTUC General Secretary expressed, however, that while that may be the case, the recommendations provided by the report gave awareness on approaching the salary and wage issue.
What the report did was to give insight or recommendation as to how wages can be fixed in an orderly manner, how negotiation can be conducted, in fact, and arrive at decisions.
Lewis said the majority of the information mentioned in the report was of things that the trade unions had expressed time and again. He said the recommendations were useful if implemented by the government sensitively over time. George, back to you.
Thanks, Kingsley. Still ahead, our regional and international news.
Women's fashion trends change every day. That's why John Lewis Styles makes it their duty to source items directly from the manufacturing brand, offering you more choices and better prices. Women love to look great, whether it's for work or play. From clothing, shoes, accessories, to handbags, watches, fragrances. Let's make you feel like the only girl in the world. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
With a distinctive flavor, Umda Palka ghee is made from 100% pure vegetable oil. This Palka ghee is a delight when preparing sweetmeats and other dishes for healthy cooking with a rich buttery taste and aroma. It is used for religious purposes and is a principal fuel for burning. Umda Palka ghee is light, pure, with a real ghee texture.
Don't let this moment in history pass you by. Kissoons want every Guyanese home to showcase a new piece of furniture to remember this glorious event of our Jubilee celebration. Kissoons have gone crazy. Every item is on sale right through this year in the Big Broad Factory Surplus Sale, up to 50% off for the 50th birthday at Kissoons.
This place is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you had a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princess Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
In news from the region now, Brazil is in crisis. The economy has sunk into its biggest slump in a century, and political instability surrounding President Dilma Rousseff's impeachment is paralyzing the country. Bloomberg Quick Takes explains how it's been a slow unraveling for the world's fifth largest country.
In recent years, Brazil has gone through a roller coaster of turmoil. Between economic woes, corruption scandals, and impeachment proceedings, Brazil is in a deep crisis. Many blaming fingers point to President Dilma Rousseff, who was recently suspended from office. But this has been a slow unraveling for the world's fifth most populous country. So So here's the situation. In order to understand Rousseff, you need to start with her predecessor, President Luis Inácio Lula da Silva, aka Lula. A rags to riches story, Lula was wildly popular and became a symbol for Brazil's economic ascent as one of the top exporters in the world of commodities such as oil, soybeans, corn, and iron ore. Dilma Rousseff was Lula's protege and became the first woman to be elected president of Brazil in 2010. During Rousseff's presidency, global prices for raw materials began dropping, and a corruption scandal paralyzed many infrastructure projects, putting severe strain on Brazil's economy. How bad did it get? Brazil's economy shrank 3.8% in 2015, the most in a quarter century. The country's credit rating was downgraded to junk, and business and consumer confidence levels fell to nearly their lowest on record. Rousseff's presidency has also been strained by the massive scandal involving Petrobras, the state-run oil company. An investigation dubbed Operation Car Wash revealed a deeply corrupt organization and government. It unearthed a scheme started over a decade ago involving bribery, collusion, and kickbacks implicating Petrobras executives and Brazilian officials. Rousseff herself has not been named in the probe. What might prove Rousseff's undoing, however, are claims she doctored accounts to cover up the government's deficit woes during her 2014 re-election campaign. In March, more than 3 million Brazilians took to the streets calling for Rousseff's ouster. On May 12th, the Senate voted to put her on trial. If found guilty, she would be removed from office permanently. However, Rousseff denies any wrongdoing. Now here's the argument. Those in the anti-Rousseff camp say that her time is over. Even if she survives her upcoming trial, which many say she won't, a fragmented government and angry public will prevent her from accomplishing anything meaningful. The pro-Rousseff camp say Rousseff's successor, Vice President Michel Temer, isn't much better. Just last year, he tweeted, quote, "Impeachment is unthinkable." Since then, Rousseff herself has accused him of attempting a coup. Looking big picture, there aren't many good guys here. 352 of Brazil's 594 members of Congress are currently under investigation for corruption charges. Brazil's future is uncertain right now, but whoever rises to power next faces a tough task in stitching the country back together.
And internationally, officials say that though ISIS has not claimed responsibility for the Istanbul airport attack, its nature points in their direction. CNN's Clarissa Ward reports.
Firstly, U.S. officials, intelligence officials, are telling CNN that based on what they've seen from a preliminary point of view, this attack does bear all the hallmarks of an ISIS-directed or ISIS-inspired attack. Now, that also gels with what we heard from the Turkish Prime Minister, who said they are also looking at ISIS as their #1 suspect. Now, the Turkish Prime Minister also gave some more details about how the attack went down. Here is what we know. There were 3 attackers, all of them believed to be wearing explosive vests, and all of them believed to be heavily armed with AK-47s. They apparently arrived, according to the Turkish Prime Minister, together in a taxi, and they left the taxi, obviously. We know that 2 of them went to the arrivals hall, the International Arrivals Hall. We've mentioned this before, but it bears mentioning again. There's heavy security at the entrance to the International Departures Hall. There's a full screening process. You have an X-ray machine, and you have to go through a metal detector. But in the arrivals hall, of course, you don't have that same level of security. So 2 of the attackers, we believe, went into the arrivals hall. They appeared to fire their weapons before exploding their devices. You saw that harrowing video where one of the attackers appears to be lying on the ground injured. He appears to be engaged by a Turkish security personnel officer who appears to fire at him and then run for his life as he senses perhaps that the attacker is about to push the button on his explosive vest. Now, ISIS has not at this stage yet actually claimed responsibility for this attack. But if you look back at ISIS attacks in Turkey, unlike other attacks that they've done in the West, they don't typically claim responsibility for them. There have been 3, including this attack. There have been 3 ISIS attacks, if indeed this is confirmed to be an ISIS attack, in Turkey since the beginning of the year. They are really stepping up the pressure, and particularly now now. It's the last 10 days of Ramadan. We've seen a call from the spokesman for ISIS urging followers, urging supporters, urging those inspired by ISIS to carry out these types of attacks. But this one, Anderson, looks like it was coordinated, it looked like it took some planning, and it looked like the attackers knew where they were going and what they were doing.
And that's Safetv 2 Headline News for this Wednesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to find Safetv 2 Headline News on Facebook, YouTube, and safetvguyana.com. You can also tune in tomorrow morning at 6:30 for a rebroadcast and Thursday evening at 7 o'clock for more news. For now, I'm George Gonzalez, signing out from this newscast. Do have a blessed evening.